Performance. Thank you, Uganda Traditional Dance Group, for that wonderful performance. That was really good. You are all welcome to the inaugural meeting of the Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum. We are here witnessing this historical moment from a journey that started in 2022. But I think the journey started in 2020, when the Common African Position on Asset Recovery was adopted. You are all welcome. As we announced earlier, kindly take note the meeting is being heard in 4 languages. You are requested to tune in to the language of choice. 1 is for English, 5 is for French, Portuguese is 10, Arabic is 15. You are welcome once again. My name is Martha Kungwa Muntali, for those who were not in here during the preliminary remarks we were having. I'll be moderating this session together with the Director of Field Services and Coordination, Mr. Jackson Moore, who will come in at some point after me. As a tradition, we would like to start to open this meeting by acknowledging the high dignitaries that are here with us today. The chairperson of the African Union Advisory Board Against Corruption, Honorable Seinabu Diakate Diaye, who is here with us. Members of the AURBC, Honorable Sheikh Baba Ahmed and Honorable Abeba Mbiare Mengist. And also recognizing the presence of the Chief Executive Officer, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Mr. Abdi Muhammad from EACC, and Mr. Aliu Musa, the interim chairperson of the African Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum, who is here with us. I also want to acknowledge Mr. Issa Kagaba Abdu, the head of governance and human rights at the African Union Commission, Political Affairs, Peace and Security, representing the Commissioner of Political Affairs, Peace and Security. I'd also want to recognize Ms. Juliet Muli, who is the head of SECFIN program at the GIZ. I would like to recognize the heads of anti-corruption authorities from all over Africa. I also want to recognize the heads of national prosecution, asset recovery agencies present here. I also want to recognize the key directors from EACC who are co-hosting this meeting here with us. I also want to recognize the heads of asset recovery interagency networks. We have Arinea, Arinka, and Arinsa amidst us. We also have our development partners from the Africa Development Bank, UNODC, the Civil Forum on Asset Recovery, CIFA, and also the University of Sussex, who are here with us. And all distinguished delegates that I have not mentioned, you are kindly acknowledged. All distinguished guests. I would like us to start this program today by observing the anthems. We are in the Republic of Kenya, and therefore we will start with the national anthem of Kenya, and then we'll go to the anthem of the East African community, because we are in the region, and then we'll play the African Union anthem. So at this point, we will be playing pre-recorded songs of the national anthem of Kenya. So thank you so much. You're welcome once again to the city of Nairobi. I hope you traveled well. And as I said earlier on, we want to make your stay here beautiful and safe. And in case you have any challenges, you are requested to see my colleagues, EY, who was here. I also introduced Ms. Pierrette, who are here to help us have a safe and a good stay here at Panari, as well as in Nairobi. There are a few changes to the program, not really much. We have put the programs in your dockets. There's an addition on the program. After the presentation of the G20 presidential initiatives, we'll have remarks by our partners who are with us here today, from the African Development Bank, from the UNODC, also from the Civil Forum for Asset Recovery. So that is just the addition on the program. We had printed earlier a version that did not include the remarks. So just for you to note that after the overview of the South African G20 presidency initiatives on anti-corruption working group meetings, we'll have remarks by the partners that we work with to be able to brief us on their efforts on asset recovery and anti-corruption or governance in general. Are we ready? We will start with the Kenyan. So may I ask all of us to stand? Apologies, I guess the technical team is having a technical glitch. Please, our technical team, we are ready. Give me a signal once you are ready. We cannot start this meeting without observing the rituals. Kindly Thank you. Because of time, let's just go straight to the AU national anthem.
Victory for liberation.
Thank you so much. We may have our seats. Honorable Chairperson of the AUABC, Honorable Senabu Diaja Kati, and the Interim Chairperson of the Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum, Mr. Abdi, the CEO of ESCC, Mr. Isaka Gaba Abdu, the Head of Governance and Human Rights, and Ms. Julie, the Head of Component. We are here today witnessing this day. As I said earlier on, it's a historical moment for us as African Union as we put in place this initiative that was launched last year. And we are here meeting in this inaugural meeting to make sure that this forum really takes off. At this point, we have already recognized the delegates. We'll have some time to be able to introduce ourselves. But at this point, I would like to call upon Dr. Musa Aliu, the interim chairperson of the African Practitioners Forum Steering Council, to give us a speech in which he will be briefing us the journey that we have taken since Dakar 2022, why this forum was established, why the charter that has been adopted, and the objectives and also the expected outcomes of this forum. At the end, by the time we reach 2063, the Agenda 2063 of the African Union, what we want this forum to have achieved. Dr. Musa Aliu, you have the floor at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. First of all, I would like to stand on the protocol well established so that not to waste much time. And it is really an honor and privilege for me to stand before these distinguished personalities from this great continent to talk about important issue of this forum of African Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum. First of all, I would like to commend the CAPAR Secretariat and the AUABC, the AUC PAPS, and the partners that have organized this important occasion which we are attending here today. It is really a testament that Africa is great, and also we are one, united, in order to ensure that we fight the monster of corruption, illicit financial flows for the development of Africa. So, as we may recall that in 2012, the Thabo Mbeki High-Level Committee on IFF has made some findings about the challenges facing Africa, especially on issue of illicit financial flows. At that time, that committee discovered that Africa is losing $50 billion annually to IFF. And also United Nations, in another report, disclosed that Africa is losing about $90 billion every year to this problem of illicit financial flows. And this challenge is what led to the recommendation, one of the recommendations of Common African Position on Asset Recovery, which was made a proposal by the Nigerian government in 2020 at the 33 AU Summit in Addis Ababa. And one of the recommendations is that there is need for this kind of forum whereby the stakeholders can come together to see how we can tackle the problem of stolen assets that have been taken outside the shores of Africa. As we all know that Africa has been having this problem right from colonial times. We know how our people were shipped through slave trade, and also we know how our resources were plundered by the colonial masters. And we know that our artifacts were not left. They were taken there, used, and also sometimes we go there, pay some fees in order to see our own history, which is also another kind of illicit financial flows. So in 2022, like Master said, in Dakar, it was agreed that this forum need to be formed, and so that all the critical stakeholders can come together to see how we can tackle this problem of illicit financial flows. Like I said, the amount of money Africa is losing is huge. Just imagine that the huge amount of money we are losing, we use it in power generation. Africa needs between $90 to $120 billion annually for power generation, transmission, and distribution. Just imagine that this amount of money that is going outside this continent is used to finance our own power development. We know that that will improve our industrialization, that will bring enough of job opportunities for teeming youth and also Africans, which will bring our development. This response also now so that there is need for all of us to come together in order to have this kind of forum. Now in 2024, in January, there was a meeting which was held of asset recovery networks to refine the structure of this forum. And in May 2024 in Addis Ababa, some of us were there, where we met. It was at that meeting the charter of this forum was drafted, and also there are some selects of African countries and some critical stakeholders that attended that meeting. It was there that the regional blocs selected countries that will represent the blocs on this forum. From West Africa, Nigeria and Burkina Faso were selected. From the East Africa, there is Uganda. From the South Africa, there is Zambia and South Africa. From Central Africa, there is Cameroon, while from North Africa, none attend that meeting. So if you look at it, the representation is that there are some, there is a gap in like East Africa, which need one representative so that they will have two. Central Africa also has one slot, which will make it two, so that it will make up the quorum. While for the North Africa, there is no any representation. We hope at this meeting, we are going to have that representation. Now, in November last year, we met in Arusha, Tanzania, during the 8th annual African Anti-Corruption Dialogue. It was at that meeting whereby the leadership of this interim forum was selected. I was chosen as the interim chair of this forum, while Dr. Patricia Achan Okiria from Uganda was selected as the vice chair of this forum. And we had several meetings, a virtual meeting, in order to see that we have this kind of gathering so that we will bring this forum, and also that to see how we are going to operationalize the CAPAR framework by strengthening cooperation, sharing best practices, and building technical capacity in asset recovery across Africa, with focus on aligning efforts and speaking with one voice for reclaiming stolen assets for the continent's development. Like I said, this is a great meeting. This is a forum whereby we need to speak with one voice, because no single country on this continent can fight the challenge of illicit financial flows. So we have to be united. That is why we have the charter. The charter has 7 sections or 7 parts. The first part is the establishment, which formally established the forum as a continental network focused on strengthening asset recovery mechanism in Africa, which align with the common Africa position on asset recovery, that is the CAPAR. The objective of this charter is to to define the forum goals, which include capacity building, facilitating legal cooperation, supporting CAPAR's implementation, advocacy for African interests, and management of the recovery of assets stolen. And also, the Charter provides for the membership, which is divided into full members, which include the national asset recovery practitioners, the prosecutors, the asset recovery institutions, and also there is observer members, which include the regional bodies, development partners, civil society, and international organizations. Then in the Charter also there is organizational structure and decision making. The forum governance include the steering council, the General Assembly, the Secretariat, and the thematic working groups focusing on specific issues like legal cooperation and repatriation. Also, the Charter provides for monitoring and evaluation mechanism for forum progress, and also aligning with existing frameworks are outlined with a focus of integrating the AU CPC tools and developing tailored monitoring system. And also, you know, there is no way this forum can work without finance. There is also a provision for financial resources. The Charter established that the forum is to secure funding from member contributions, contribution from AU support, donor agencies, and also the Charter provides that there is need to emphasize transparency and accountability in managing the fund of this great forum. And also there is general provision of the Charter, which covers the area of amendment of the Charter every 5 years. Also the working languages are the English, the French, Arabic, and Portuguese. And also the adoption of this Charter will come into effect by 2/3 members of this forum when they sign, and also the Charter will be launched. So now this forum has objectives, and also there are expected outcomes, which at the end of this meeting we are expected. One, we are going to inaugurate this forum, which is one of the important reasons we are here. Then secondly, we are going to discuss strategies for enhancing Africa's asset recovery through regional and international collaboration, which are key. Then thirdly, there is issue of building capacity among practitioners, sharing knowledge, best practices, and also to look at the issue of technological advancement. Then the issue of developing working groups and action plans to address challenges in asset tracing, repatriation, and management of the recovered assets. Then also it is really important for us to foster partnerships with global institutions to ensure Africa's voice in international asset recovery discussion is heard. That is why it is really important for all of us, wherever we find ourselves, we should push for this issue of recovery of assets in Africa. We need to always talk. Wherever we are at international fora, we should talk about the stolen asset of Africa. We should talk about how we can trace, recover, repatriate, and also to ensure that these recovered assets are managed properly and used for the development of Africa. And by the end of this meeting, the expected outcomes are 4. One, we need to have a clear roadmap for operationalization of this forum. Then secondly, we need to express strong commitment from all of us for the implementation of CAPAR, because that will show our seriousness, that will send a positive signal to the international sphere that Africa has really come to an age. Africa is serious. We need our resources, because it is with our resources that we can be able to develop our continent, that we will make Africa great, and also to tackle the issue of tax evasion and aggressive tax avoidance, and also the illicit financial flows. Then the third expected outcome is that we need concrete recommendations for overcoming the legal and institutional barriers on this issue of asset recovery. The last, which not the least, is we strengthen regional and international partnerships for effective collaboration. So conclusively, this important gathering is a right step in the right direction for Africans to sit down, discuss the issue of illicit financial flows, the issue of our resources, how we can recover stolen assets, how can we can use them in developing our continent for the betterment of our people. We know that this issue which we are focusing is not easy. We are going to have challenges, but those challenges are not unsurmountable. We have to focus, we have to make sure that we are determined to ensure that we see the light at the end of the tunnel. We know that some of the challenges which are going to face is that no doubt there will be resistance from global north because our assets are there. So we need to insist, we need to keep on discussing, we need to keep on the conversation to tell them that, look, we need our resources. No matter the resistance, we need to use diplomacy, we need to keep engaging them that we need our resources. And also the challenge of participation. Like I mentioned earlier, that like one of the regional groups, we need to encourage them to come up and join also that we will be one and tackle this challenge of illicit financial flows which in Africa. And also we need to engage in strategic diplomacy, which is good at national sphere, to now push our agenda, to now ensure that we don't allow our assets to be kept somewhere where they're going to be used to develop other places, not our own continent. And also we need to encourage broader participation and also to implement robust oversight mechanism. And also we need to have at the back of our mind that if we recover these assets, there may be challenge of relooting them. So we need to have strong oversight mechanism to ensure that the assets that are recovered are used or are managed properly so that they will not be relooted again, so that we'll go back to the problem of this issue of illicit financial flows. So conclusively or finally, I can say that this forum is very important meeting, and also we need resources. And once we are united with one voice, Africa will be great. Once we speak with one voice, Africa will be great, and also will develop our continent, and also that will show to the world that Africa has come to an age, and Africa has resources that it can use to develop our continent. Without being united, there is no way we can develop, and there is no way we can reach the destination. Thank you, I really appreciate for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Musa Aliyu, the interim chairperson of the African Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum Steering Council. My name is Jackson Mue. I serve as the Director in charge of Youth Services and Coordination for the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Kenya. Our chief guest, the Honorable Sainabu Diakate, the chairperson of the African Union Board Against Corruption, the Chief Executive and Secretary of EACC, Mr. Abdi Mahmoud, Mr. Isaka Gabo Abdu, Head of the Governance and Human Rights Division, Department of Political Affairs, Peace and Security, African Union, Ms. Kathika Kas, represented by Ms. Juliet Mule, the Program Manager, Strengthening Development Finance by Combating Illicit Financial Flows and Effective Debt Management. At this point, we turn our meeting to speeches by our key stakeholders. Our chief guest, the first speaker this morning, will be Ms. Juliet Mule, who will speak on behalf of Ms. Kathika Kas on behalf of GIZ. Ms. Juliet Mule, welcome and make your remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson Moore. And I will ask that I be allowed to stand on the salutations that have already been made because of time. As you heard, my name is Juliet Mule. I work with GIZ, but I'm here to speak on behalf of Ms. Katinka Kuz. She's the program manager of the GIZ strengthening development finance by combating illicit financial flows and effective debt management program, which is an African Union Commission program based in Addis with offices all over the continent. And I will start the speech. It is with great enthusiasm and a strong sense of shared purpose that GIZ joins you today for this landmark occasion, the inaugural meeting of the African Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum. GIZ recognizes the collaborative vision of the African Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum to combat illicit financial flows, to restore what has been unjustly taken, and to build stronger, more resilient institutions across the continent. Asset recovery is a powerful mechanism for combating illicit financial flows. It denies criminals and their networks the main incentive for committing crime. However, we also appreciate that asset recovery is a complex process that most countries are grappling with. The criminal networks are also pushing back not to lose their ill-gotten wealth, and in most cases, they are always a step ahead. International cooperation has also been a challenge. Exchange of relevant information or intelligence for asset tracing across borders is marred with complex legal requirements that derail the asset recovery process. There is a need for concerted efforts amongst all relevant actors, both nationally and across borders, to address these challenges and make international cooperation work. We reaffirm our commitment to stand beside the AU member states and regional actors in this journey. This forum is not the result of a moment, but the culmination of years of deliberation, of tireless stakeholder engagement, and of unwavering commitment from African nations and the African Union Commission led by AU-ABC and AU-CPAPs, development partners and experts on the topic. Today marks not only the beginning of formalized collaboration among asset recovery practitioners, but a clear escalation of our shared determination to see stolen assets returned and reinvested in the development of Africa. We warmly congratulate the forum on its successful establishment and the validation of its charter. This marks a significant milestone, not just as a policy initiative, but as a collective commitment to asset recovery efforts in the continent. We recognize that this forum is not merely a platform for drafting or implementing policies. It stands as a dynamic force for transformation, a space for change architects and enforcers of progressing the asset recovery mechanisms in the continent. We are inspired by the vision and ambition of the Common Africa Position on Asset Recovery and commitment by the African Union Commission in driving this initiative. Through this forum, there is immense potential to shape impactful strategies, foster cross-border cooperation, and exchange practical tools and insights that bring asset recovery from aspiration to action. We are eager to explore avenues for collaboration, to support this important work, and to contribute to ensuring that asset recovery efforts are not only strengthened but sustained. Together, we can move from principles to practice, making accountability real, measurable, and enduring. We recognize the importance of your collective efforts in combating illicit financial flows across Africa. On behalf of my program manager, Katinka Kuz, I wish you productive and inspiring deliberations. Your work is essential, and we stand with you to advance the asset recovery agenda for Africa. Together, we can ensure that the fight against illicit financial flows leads to real, measurable progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliet, for your remarks on behalf of Ms. Kuz. At this point, we received remarks from Mr. Isaka Gabo Abdu, the Head of Governance and Human Rights Division, Department of Political Affairs, Peace and Security, the African Union. Welcome, Mr. Isaka.
Honorable Sainabu Jakate Ndiaye, Chairperson of the African Union Advisory Board Against Corruption, AUABC, Mr. Abdi Mohammed, MBS, Secretary, Chief Executive Officer, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission of Kenya, Dr. Musa Aliyu, Interim Chairperson of the African Asset Recovery Practitioner Forum, Ms. Juliette Mole, representative of GIZ, distinguished delegates and experts, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is with great honor that I address this esteemed gathering on behalf of His Excellency Ambassador Bankole Adeoye, Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security of the African Union, during this inaugural meeting of the African Asset Recovery Practitioner Forum in Nairobi, Kenya. Allow me on the onset to convey our sincere gratitude to the people and the government of Kenya through the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission for hosting this important gathering and for the warm hospitality extended to us since our arrival in this beautiful city of Nairobi. Further, I would like to thank you all for honoring this invitation as I take this early opportunity to welcome you to this meeting. I would like to thank also GIZ for their tremendous support provided to AUC in organizing this meeting. Our thanks also go to FDB for the support provided in bringing participants to this meeting. As you may be aware, since 2022, the AUABC and the Department of Political Affairs, Peace and Security of the African Union Commission have been exploring the establishment of a platform for asset recovery practitioners through a series of consultation among asset recovery experts, asset recovery interagency networks, and national anti-corruption authorities, brainstormed and reviewed the draft charter to govern the Asset Recovery Practitioner Forum. In May 2024, the key stakeholders met in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and agreed to establish the Asset Recovery Practitioner Forum, which is a forum of asset recovery experts with objective of supporting African Union member states to effectively implement the common African position on asset recovery. The creation of this forum is the major step in the direction of improving coordination and cooperation among African asset recovery initiatives. By uniting professionals and specialists, this network will enable the sharing of insight and expertise, ultimately leading to more successful asset recovery programs and the fight against corruption throughout the continent, especially at a time where the African Union is admitted as G20 member and participating as the second consecutive time to all the G20 anti-corruption working group meetings. The African Union acknowledged the importance of active participation in international forums such as G20 Working Group on Anti-Corruption, where issues of fighting against corruption, illicit financial flows, and issues on enhancing asset recovery and the integrity in the public and private sector are discussed. Honorable guests, distinguished delegates and experts, ladies and gentlemen, our collective presence here at this meeting affirms our shared commitment to combating corruption, a pervasive challenge that undermines governance, economic stability, and public trust across the globe. African Union attaches special importance to the effort towards the fight against corruption and the recovery of and the enhancement of the recovery of assets. Considering the negative impact of corruption on economic growth through its effect on the rule of law and international financial stability, tax, trade, and also private investment and development, the African Union has adopted a common African position, CAPAR, in February 2020 as a policy and advocacy tool to combat illicit financial flow. The four strategic pillars of the policy provide a coherent policy and strategic framework to drive the continental agenda for asset recovery. Over the years, the African Union has made significant strides in addressing corruption through initiatives such as the African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption, and also the Common African Position on Asset Recovery. These frameworks have not only provided a robust foundation for anti-corruption effort, but also facilitated international cooperation in areas such as asset recovery, transparency in governance, and also public procurement. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here not only to launch the forum, but to activate a long-awaited continental platform, one that reflects a shared vision nurtured through consultation and collaboration to reclaim what belongs to Africa and to reinvest it in Africa. This forum, the Africa Asset Recovery Practitioner Forum, is a key mechanism to operationalize CAPAR. It brings together the practitioners who stand on the front line of this battle: investigators, prosecutors, financial analysts, legal experts, and policymakers. It's also a timely response to a growing challenge. As we know, illicit financial flows are becoming more sophisticated and transnational. They deprive the continent of over 88 billion USD each year, funds that, as the interim chair said, should be financing social programs like hospital, clean energy, education, and public infrastructure. So they fuel inequality, undermine governance, and weaken trust in our institution. As the African Union Commission, we firmly believe in the transformative potential of CAPAR, and the AUC has long advocated for the establishment of a structural mechanism that enhance coordination, peer learning, and legal cooperation among member states in the domain of asset recovery. Today in this forum, we see that vision making form. Distinguished participants, on the next 3 days, you will lay down the foundational pillar of this forum in signing the charter and giving the forum its institutional identity. You will also nominate the country focal points and forming working groups, building operational architecture of the platform, and critically you will develop a roadmap for implementation, ensuring that this is not just a launch, but the start of truly action-oriented process. You will also endorse the draft declaration that capture our collective intent and commitment to regional cooperation, to strengthening mutual legal assistance, and to advancing policy reform, capacity building, and the responsible management of recovered assets. In so doing, you will reaffirm your role not only as legal expert, but as defender of the public trust, and emphasize the importance of public confidence, of good governance, and also of ensuring that the recovered assets are used transparently in a way that serves the people. Distinguished delegates and experts, ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to reaffirm the African Union's unwavering commitment to continue providing institutional backing, backing and also technical support and political advocacy for this forum. We see it as an integral part of the broader AU architecture for democratic governance, rule of law, and human rights. And we remain committed to working in synergy with the African Union Advisory Board Against Corruption, with the member states, and with our partner to ensure that the forum's long-term sustainability and impact. Together, we can build governance systems that are transparent, resilient, and accountable, ultimately fostering an environment of trust and integrity for our citizens and future generations. I look forward to our discussion and to a productive outcome that strengthens our shared resolve and collective action. I thank you and wish you fruitful deliberation during these 3 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Isaac, for speaking on behalf of the stakeholders. I think at this point we can appreciate both Mr. Isaac and Juliet, who have spoken on behalf of our stakeholders. At this point, allow me to turn the meeting to the keynote speakers of the day. And the first speaker of the day is also our host, and this is the Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Mr. Abdi Mahmoud. Mr. Abdi, it is your turn. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jackson. Let me ride on the protocols so far set, so as to save on time. And as the host, let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you, both the Kenyans who are here, and also the visitors who are coming from elsewhere within the continent. Welcome to Kenya, welcome to Nairobi, our beautiful city in the sun. And just to inform you that neighboring the hotel here, in fact, just across the road, if you go to the top floors of this hotel, to the west side, you will observe the national park, the Nairobi National Park, where there are wild animals. All the animals you hear about live there in their natural habitat. And we are also informed that at night, once in a while, the lions escape from the national park into the neighborhood. So if you decide to take an evening walk, please ask around. Ask around so that you don't go into a territory of other inhabitants of this city. Having said that, it is my great pleasure to join you this morning to share with you my insights on our meeting today. It is my hope that this particular meeting, which brings together practitioners from Africa on issues asset recovery, asset tracing, illicit financial flows, will be different from the other organizations that we've been attending meetings where after the inauguration of the institutions, or rather the forums, little happens thereafter. This, I think, will be different because we are bringing together practitioners, people who actually do understand the issues and the challenges that Africa faces when it comes to going for the assets that were stolen from our continent. This also gives me great pleasure in mentioning that it reminds me of some time back in 2005 in our country here in Kenya. Of course, some of you may be aware that Kenya was the first country to sign and ratify the United Convention Against Corruption. We also are a member state of the African Union Convention on Prevention and Combating Corruption. After that, our country here enacted 2 legislations. One was called the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, and the other one was called the Public Officer Ethics Act. The first one created an organization called the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission that later on transited to the current organization, which I currently head. So in 2005, when we recruited the first about 45 employees, the senior managers and the middle managers, we were hosted. First of all, we went for a training like what we are going through today. And in the evening, we were hosted to one of the ambassadors who are supporting the program of setting up the commission, their residence, where we had a cocktail. And why I'm bringing this story is just to tell you what one of those ambassadors who attended the cocktail told us that day, that evening, which I remember to date. He said that in this team lays the hope of Kenya in the fight against corruption. We were about 45 at that particular time. And why I'm bringing this story is to connect it to this particular forum that we are witnessing today. That in here, in my view and in my assessment, lies the hope of Africa in recovering its assets that were illegally stolen from this continent. So I have a huge expectation and hope that we will make a difference. I attended the first meeting in Addis Ababa last year, and I was quite encouraged by the proposals that were coming forward. And looking at how we are constituted today, that gives me more hope. Africa basically has always been a victim when it comes to issues to do with stolen assets. There is a book written by someone called Martin Meredith, which is titled The Fortunes of Africa, a 5,000-year history of wealth, greed, and endeavor. That same author also wrote a book called States of Africa. If you read that book, you will get to realize that over the years, thousands of years back, Africa has always been the victim of, people coming from all over the world, specifically just to come and steal the resources of Africa. Is it because Africa is weak? And again, at some stage, you will find that the victim is blamed for losing their assets. It is very strange. It is so strange that instead of sympathizing with the victim is now blamed for having their assets stolen from them. Well, you may say that the victim also contributes to the stealing of the resources. That has happened over the years, because the book I told you about, you will see people from all over the world, the Portuguese, the Spanish, the French, the Arabs, the Turks, people from all walks of life, lives coming to Africa, not to trade, not to do anything good, but basically just to steal the gold, the ivory, and finally steal the human resource, forcefully steal human resource to go and develop other places in the name of slave trade. It is a history that we should run away from. And as practitioners, these memories should prick our conscience. We should think about what is happening to us and think of how to deal with these problems. A very simple example, for example, now, is you find assets stolen from Africa being taken to elsewhere, returning them becomes a problem. Now, you have islands, you have countries where the economy is solely, or rather mainly, dependent on stolen assets. They are not gray listed. But those people who are losing their assets are gray listed for losing their assets. A very strange scenario. Now, it is for us to change that narrative, because here are people who understand the problem. You go and recover your assets in some country, you are told, well, even if we will give you back these assets, what will happen is you will buy medicines from our country, you will buy ambulances from our country. Do we really need those ambulances? Probably we need. But should we be told what to do with the assets that were stolen from us? Probably yes, because we may have contributed. But I think if we put our heads together and come up with proper narrative and proper agenda and proper action points, we can make our story heard, and we can make people believe that we are not actually part of the problem. We do understand, yes, in some situations we contribute to the problem as a continent. But we should, what I'm telling you is we should change the narrative, and we should collectively go for our assets that have been stolen from us, because in our unity lies our strength. Now, if I may come to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission that I had, we have taken asset tracing, asset recovery as a priority in our strategy, for a simple reason that it is mainly what drives people to steal is to accumulate assets. In the last 5 years, the commission, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Kenya, recovered assets from assets that were corruptly acquired from people who actually stole our assets, worth about $216 million US. Currently, the cases that are in court, in our courts here locally, for us to recover assets, which we believe finally we may succeed, are valued at $382 million US. That's quite substantial. See, these assets mainly are being recovered from public officers who steal assets while working in the public sector. And that is where now we are focused on. And it is something I would also encourage you people to think about. And if that is not your strategy, go for that strategy. It is a very viable strategy where our courts have set up the law that public officers who cannot explain the assets they own should be forfeited to the state. And the benefit of recovering those assets can clearly be seen here in our country. Probably if we get time, we have a development which is going around just, I think, a kilometer or so just from this hotel, of some public land that was stolen from the public that we recovered. And when we handed back the assets for public use, now the government is currently putting up what we call low-cost housing for the public, for the Kenyans to buy at a very cheap price. It is a huge establishment, and if probably we get time, we would want you to see the benefit that can be accrued from recovering assets that are stolen from the public and the usefulness they serve when they are returned for public use. Because in that property alone, because it's among the many properties that we have recovered and handed back. In that property alone, we are going to accommodate hundreds, if not thousands, of Kenyans who will be able to access low-cost housing at a very affordable price, people who would not have dreamt of owning any house at all, at least in this city or in other upmarket places. So, because I know there's so much we have to discuss, I want to stop at that, just to encourage you and to make you feel at home. This is another African city, just like where you come from. Feel at home. We are here to assist where possible, where necessary, and please ask what you don't understand, and our people here will be willing to assist you and to support you. Thank you, and do have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Abdi, for those remarks. Here lies the hope of Africa, so says Mr. Abdi Mahmoud. At this juncture, we want to invite our chief guest, who will also do the official opening of today's meeting. Our chief guest is the Honorable Sainabut Yakate. She will speak in French. I will be encouraging the non-French speakers. You turn to channel 1 for those who speak English for purposes of being able to follow the chief guest. At this point, you have been seated for long. I will encourage us just to be upstanding. We invite our chief guest, the Honorable Sainabut, to come and make a keynote speech and officially open the forum. Welcome, chief guest.
Merci beaucoup, Martha. Mesdames et Messieurs les membres du Conseil consultatif de l'Union africaine contre la corruption, Madame le juge, président de la Cour de lutte contre la corruption et les crimes économiques, l'honorable Lady Justice Njunguna, Monsieur le directeur général de la Commission d'éthique et de lutte contre la corruption, M. Abdi Mohamed, M. Issa Hagarbou, chef de la division de la gouvernance et des droits de l'homme au département des affaires politiques, de la paix et de la sécurité de la Commission de l'Union africaine, Mesdames et Messieurs les directeurs généraux et représentants
representative of the anti-corruption head, ladies and gentlemen, representative of National Authority in charge of prosecution, asset recovery agents, ladies and gentlemen, representative of asset recovery networks, Arenca, Arensa, ladies and gentlemen, representative of the Department of Economy, Tourism, and Mining of the African Union Commission, ladies and gentlemen, participant of political affairs, ladies and gentlemen, representative of the Secretariat of the East Africa Community, and African Union Commission, dear representative of the government of Kenya, dear representative of the partners, African Development Bank, and ladies and gentlemen, all your protocol observes. It's with a great pleasure that I wish you welcome to these meetings, inaugural meetings of the African Forum of Practitioners in charge of asset recovery.
Mesdames et messieurs,
Ladies and
il ne
gentlemen,
s'agit pas de l'ouverture
it's
d'une
not
réunion
an opening
de
of a meeting, any meeting, but it's an opening of a new era of concrete solidarity, the collaboration and institutional innovation, a common vision for asset recovery stolen from Africa, and particularly to put a term at this.
Je me tiens aujourd'hui devant vous
I'm here in front of you
pour vous souhaiter
to
encore une
wish
fois
you once
la
again
bienvenue et vous rappeler
welcome and remind you that today is a culmination of many days, lot of work, commitment from various countries, and this inaugural meeting is a translation not only of our goodwill and above all our common determination
de nos efforts.
and all effort committed up to today. Ladies and gentlemen,
L'adoption de la position commune
the
africaine
adoption
sur le
of
recouvrement des avoirs, CAPAR,
African position in 2020 on asset recovery, it was a collective initiative for African states. The political declaration raised and determination from Africa to recover resources unjustly stolen from Africa. To remind you, the 4 strategic pillars. These pillars, as you know, are tracing and identification of assets, recovery and management of recovery assets, and also the cooperation and partnership. The CAPAR invite to promote transparency in asset recovery and to strengthen institutional capacity. The current forum is one of the solutions. Therefore, this forum gives participants practitioners for asset recovery. It confers to practitioners a common identity and one voice. As said in the concept note, your expertise, ladies and gentlemen, your commitment and your leadership are the ingredients that will enable us to do real, to appear real and determined. As it was already said during the 2024 workshop where the forum was created and the charter validated, we are not only charged with developing policies, but we are also the architect for change. The current forum enables us to develop strategies, to develop collaboration, to share tools and ideas, but also to make sure that assets recovered should not remain at the theoretical level, but this must be practical. We must be creative, we must be firm, so that through the operationalization of the charter, the approval of the map, the roadmap, acts on the priority themes. During these 3 days, we will be able to make decisions. In relation to the representations, we see the head of anti-corruption entities, the authority in charge of asset recovery. We look at the expertise in the room, we will say we have people who are capable of manage the assets. In the name of the advisory forum, let me thank all our partners, particularly JZ, through its component anti-corruption and the fight of, again, the illicit finance flow, for their support to the consultative forum, particularly in the process of CAPAR. Since 2022, JZ has hugely supported us, technically and financially. from Dakar to Nairobi through Addis Ababa. Allow me also to say thank you to the African Development Bank for its support, various support through funding some participants to be here. Let's also thank the government of the Republic of Kenya and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission of Kenya, the co-organizing of this meeting, for the welcome given to us and all the necessary support from our arrival in this city of Kenya. Let me finally thank all of you delegates for responding to our invitation. This is a proof of your commitment to fight against corruption and the importance that you accord to asset recovery issue. Let me wish to all of you the fruitful deliberation and say thank you for your attention. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson.
Merci beaucoup.
For making sure that
présidente
this flight,
de
is it KQ or is it AU 380, has taken off.
faire décoller ce vol.
And hopefully,
Nous espérons que dans quelques années, nous pourrons atteindre l'attitude où tout sera bien et nous allons desserrer les ceintures. Merci à tous qui ont pu prendre la parole. Je voudrais terminer, compter sur le mot du président de la Commission, que dans cette salle repose l'espoir. Nous allons partir de ce mot pour faire que cet espoir se matérialise et que ce forum
take its institutional framework that it requires for it to be operationalized. We needed, during the adoption of the Charter in Addis Ababa, May 2024, to have a framework that will help us to operationalize. So the stakeholders during that meeting did elect an interim steering council. As you can see from the remarks of the interim chairperson, the decision was that each region of the African Union has 5 regions: the northern, the west, the central, the east, and the south. Each region was to be represented by 2 member countries. And then we also had associations which are very critical to issues of asset recovery, and also they were given, or they were designated to be part of the steering council. So we have the Association of African Anti-Corruption Authorities, AARP, as well as representation from each of the asset recovery interagency networks. So in the meantime, we have representation from ARENEA, that is the ARINS for East Africa, and then we also have representation from ARINSA, that is the Asset Recovery Interagency Network for Southern Africa, and as well as AARP. So it's my pleasure this time to inform you, as we already did in the letter that was sent to all delegates, that for us to put life to the forum, you as founding members that are here today would have to commit by declaring the Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum operational. The forum was already launched, the charter was already adopted, but to inaugurate it as the first meeting, we need the founding members. The charter requires that members do submit application forms, and that will be done after this inaugural meeting as we work towards the convening of the first annual General Assembly. So the General Assembly will be held later in the year. So any concerns, comments to the charter that was adopted would have to be dealt with at the General Assembly, because that's the decision-making body that was put in place. So for us today, we are holding the first meeting of the forum. Therefore, it's in this session, our dear delegates, our honorable guests, we'll be introducing the Interim Steering Council, and also we'll be formalizing this forum by reading the declaration that was already sent to all of us in all the 4 languages. It was for us to appreciate what we are committing to, what we are declaring. So this is the Nairobi Declaration, or is it the Panali Declaration, where member states are committing to having this forum operational and in place. And as founding members, we are required to sign to the charter. As I said, we had sent the charter, but for any concerns, anything, we will have time to receive them and then be discussed at the annual General Assembly, which is a requirement by the charter. So at this time, honorable delegates, at this point, honorable delegates, it's my pleasure to invite the members of the Steering Council. I'll start by inviting the interim chairperson of the Steering Council, and this is Dr. Musa Adam Aliyu, who is the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Related Offences Commission. Dr. Aliyu, please. I'd like to invite the deputy chairperson of the Interim Steering Council, Dr. Achan Patricia Okidia, who is the Deputy Inspector General of Government, the Anti-Corruption Authority of Uganda. I would like to invite Mrs. Monica Chimpata Master, Anti-Corruption Commission of Zambia, who is Acting Director General, who is representing the Southern region. I also like to call Dr. Spamanda Mbebe, Special Investigating Unit of South Africa, representing the Southern region. He is the Senior Manager, Civil Litigation. I would like to invite Mr. Bonzi Biomon, who is the State Controller of the Higher Authority, the Fight Against Corruption from Burkina Faso, Mr. Bonzi. I would like to invite Dr. Sheikh Baba Ahmed, who is a member of the African Union Advisory Board Against Corruption. He is the Charge de Mission of the Ministry of Justice, but he was also the former Director General of the Asset Recovery Agency of Mauritania. I would also like to invite Mr. Issa Kagaba Abdul, who is representing the African Union Commission on Security as a member of the Steering Council. He's the head of governance and human rights. I also want to invite members of ARIS. I invite Mr. Kevin Mufuti, who is representing ARISA, the Asset Recovery Interagency Network of Southern Africa. I also want to invite Mr. Pius Nyoike from Arenea, who is a legal officer at the Ethics and Corruption Commission, but here he is representing Arenea. I also want to call upon Dr. Momun Gindo, who is representing the Association of Anti-Corruption Authorities of Africa, also a member of the Steering Council. And then we have the head of the Forum Secretariat, currently being the Executive Secretary of AUABC. In this meeting, represented by myself, so just see my being is here. So ladies and gentlemen, we have here the Steering Council of the Forum. A round of applause for them. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You can take your seats, honorable members of the Steering Council. You can take your seats. As we said earlier on, there are. Now you go. As we said earlier on, there are vacancies in the Steering Council. In the Addis Ababa meeting, we did not have representation from the North. So you will see on the program, we will be nominating the vacant seats. That's for North, we need 2 countries. For East Africa, we need 1 country. And for Central Africa, also 1 country. So within the program, we'll be able to do the nominations for representative of the other regions. At this point in time, we are going to the formalization of the forum through the reading of the declaration as well as signing the charter. We'll be signing the charter according to the countries. I want to also draw your attention that the charter has said the members of the forum are national institutions with an asset recovery mandate. The members of the forum are national institutions with an asset recovery mandate. We know anti-corruption authorities, public prosecution, the Wildlife Society, the Asset Recovery Agency, the revenue authorities all have. Therefore, in the charter, it has been spelled out national institutions with an asset recovery mandate. So in a country, you can have 10 countries all have to sign into the charter. So at this point, I would like to invite the interim chairperson to read to us the declaration that is formalizing the forum. All of us committing that this forum is important as we support the member states to implement the common African position on asset recovery. After the reading of the declaration, we will be adopting it by consensus, and then we'll go on to the signing of the charter. So we'll be mentioning country by country. We'll come here to sign. If you need photos, our photographers are there. We'll have a link which will send all the photos for you. So at this point in time, let me call the interim chairperson to read the declaration.
So thank you, Martha. It is my singular honor and privilege to, for the second time, stand before you, these critical stakeholders, for the declaration of the African Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum, AARP, adopted on the 15th day of April 2025 at Panari Sky Center in Nairobi, Kenya. We, the representatives of asset recovery agencies, national anti-corruption agencies, prosecution agencies, and asset recovery mandate agencies, relevant stakeholders, gathered for the inaugural meeting of the African Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum, recalling the adoption of the Common African Position on Asset Recovery by the African Union Assembly of Heads of States in February 2020 as a strategic framework for the Africa to combat illicit financial flows and recover stolen assets for sustainable development. Acknowledging the need for enhanced cooperation, coordination, and capacity building among African states to effectively address the challenges of asset recovery, corruption, and financial crimes. Recognizing the critical role of investigative agencies, prosecution agencies, anti-corruption bodies, and asset recovery practitioners in ensuring accountability, upholding the rule of law, and safeguarding public resources. Deeply concerned by growing complexity of illicit financial flows, money laundering, and other financial crimes that undermine economic development and social justice in Africa. Reiterating our collective commitment to promoting transparency, accountability, integrity, and justice through effective asset recovery measures. Convinced that the establishment and operationalization of the African Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum will foster greater regional collaboration knowledge sharing, and best practices in asset recovery and repatriation efforts, pledging to support all mechanisms that will support and facilitate the detection and identification of assets recovery and return of assets, management of recovered assets, cooperation and partnerships. Having convinced that at this inaugural meeting of the African Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum, we hereby declare 1. Commitment to regional cooperation and collaboration. We affirm our commitment to deepening cooperation among African investigative agencies, asset recovery agencies, anti-corruption bodies, and prosecution services, including the Regional Asset Recovery and Anti-Money Laundering Network, to enhance the effectiveness of asset recovery efforts across the continent. 2. Strengthening mutual legal assistance. We pledge the strengthening formal and informal channels for mutual legal assistance, including cooperation and asset tracing, freezing, confiscation, and repatriation in accordance with the applicable national and international legal frameworks. 3. Enhancing knowledge exchange and capacity building. We commit to fostering continuous learning, professional development, and the extent of expertise to equip practitioners with necessary tools and resources to combat illicit financial flows and recover stolen assets effectively. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. We hereby adopt the Nairobi Declaration of the Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum adopted. A round of applause, please. Thank you so much. I wanted also to make a clarification that the charter is not.
It's not finished.
Huh? Oh, it didn't finish?
No.
Oh. Chair. But the moderator has already adopted. So what should we do?
So number 4, so promoting good governance and transparency, we resolve to uphold higher standards of integrity, transparency, and accountability in asset recovery processes, ensuring that repatriated assets are utilized for the benefit of African countries. Number 5, advocating for legislative and policy reforms. We agree to advocate for the necessary legal and policy reforms to strengthen asset recovery mechanisms, close legal loopholes, and align national frameworks with the African Union Convention on Prevention and Combating Corruption, the African Peer Review Mechanism in the international best practices. 6, leveraging technology and innovation. We recognize the potential of digital tools, data analytics, and forensic technologies in enhancing the efficiency and effectiveness of asset recovery efforts, and we commit to exploring their adoption where applicable. Number 7, foster public trust and awareness. We emphasize the importance of building public confidence in assets recovery initiative through transparent processes, public engagement, and information dissemination of recovered assets and impact. Number 8, global and regional representation and advocacy. We agree to present a unified voice at regional and international forums advocating African priorities in asset recovery and illicit financial flows mitigation efforts. Number 9, commitments to periodic review. We acknowledge the need for regular reviews of our collective progress, challenges, and priorities to ensure the continued relevance and effectiveness of Africa Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum's initiative. In witness whereof, we, the undersigned representative of the asset recovery agencies, national anti-corruption agencies, prosecution agencies, and other relevant stakeholders adopt this declaration, reaffirming our commitment and principle enshrined herein. It is signed this 15th day of April, 2025. Thank you. So I'm moving now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Apologies. I think when we were printing, we printed the wrong date. It's 20. The one we sent had 2025, but when printing, I think we printed the older version, which is showing 2017. So please, we are correcting that. Thank you so much. Also, let me make this collection that for Arinea, the president of Arinea is a member of the steering council, but in the first meeting was presented by Mr. Pius. So let me recognize Ms. Lillian Kafiti to stand up as the president of Arinea. Thank you, ma'am. At this point, we are witnessing the signing of the charter. As I said earlier on, the charter is not a legal binding document. It's an instrument agreed upon by members to operationalize the forum. So this is not a treaty or a protocol that needs ratification by the ministers of justice, attorney generals. This is a forum or a network that we needed an instrument that is going to guide the operations. This is the reason why we had sent the letter to say that when you are coming, if you need to get some kind of approval or some kind of authority to sign, but otherwise it's legality that this is a forum and not a network, and the charter is a methodology to operationalize. However, in case some people have reservations, they can be able to sign later. But for now, we are encouraging you to be the founding members of the forum. It's a commitment so that when we go to the General Assembly later in the year, we'll be now receiving the application membership forms. And also the issue of the membership fee would have been agreed upon. So as you can see, the charter talks about a membership fee, but we are not receiving that because the General Assembly has to formally adopt those mechanisms. I hope I'm clear enough. So we are ready to sign, we are able to give our commitment to have this forum. As the Honorable Chairperson said, this is the first of its kind. And you are the practitioners. And the AUABC and the AUC PAPs, we are banking on you. We don't want, after this forum to die. If this forum dies, Madam Chair, should I resign? Because I've worked day and night. Since Friday, I've been sleeping 2 hours to make sure everybody is here, and I'm happy to see all of you here. Some were calling me at 1 a.m. So please, for the sake of Martha, we'll make sure that we sign this declaration, this charter. Thank you so much. So at this point, I would like to ask so to witness the signing, to affirm that you have really signed, I'm going to call upon the Honorable Chairperson of the AUABC, Honorable Madam Diai Diakati, to come and sit here. And we'll be calling the countries in their chronological or alphabetical order. So we'll start with Angola. Angola, please. So for Angola, we have 2 institutions. Both of you can come to sign. So we took the picture. Our photographer, where he is. Yes, yes. Yes. So yes. Name of institution, name of institution. I've been directed, I need to do protocol course. We need a chair when the founding members are signing. Yes. Okay, so I call upon Botswana. Botswana. And after Botswana, it will be Burkina Faso, get ready. And then Burundi, also to get ready. So Burkina Faso, Burundi, okay, thank you so much, Botswana. Burundi, oh sorry, Burkina Faso. Burundi, are they here? Okay, yes, Burundi, please come. Burundi, there are two institutions, but the other one is not yet because I think there are challenges with their flight, so they will sign later. So after Burundi, it will be Chad, then Cote d'Ivoire, please get ready, and then Djibouti, and Ethiopia. So in the country, you could have 3 or 4 institutions. We have made places for you to be able to sign. Ethiopia could also be, I think the Ethiopian and also the other one missed their flight. They will join later. So we have only from the ethics and anti-corruption. Okay, Burundi, yes, please. Then we have Chad, Cote d'Ivoire, Burundi, Ethiopia, get ready. Then Eswatini. Djibouti. Yes, Chad, s'il vous plaît. Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire. You're not signing? Huh? We don't have Cameroon. They also had issues with their flight. They'll be joining us today, so they'll send later. So now Chad. Then we'll have Djibouti. You're ready. Ethiopia is here. Eswatini. Eswatini, we have two institutions, the public prosecution and the ACC. Kindly get ready if you are signing today. Djibouti. What do I They will sign later. Then we have Gabon. If you are ready to sign today, this will come in after Eswatini. This event is being covered live on YouTube. You can follow at EACC YouTube channel, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission YouTube channel. This event is being streamed live. Thank you so much, Djibouti. We have Eswatini. We will start with the Commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission. After that, it will be the Director of Public Prosecution as founding members of the forum. And then we'll have Gabon, no, we'll have Ethiopia. Lesotho. Lesotho, we have from the public prosecution, Lesotho. After Lesotho, we have Liberia. Also get ready. For Malawi, they had issues with their flight. Their flight was cancelled, and they will be joining in today. So they will be signing later. Yes, yes, yes. By the charter. Okay, Director of Public Eswatini. Yes, after this one, maybe Ethiopia. Should we put Eswatini on the spot? That Eswatini has not ratified yet the African Union Convention Preventing and Combating Corruption, but they are fighting corruption, and we are hoping the signing of this charter, when they go back, they'll tell their policymakers, the legislature, to ratify the AUCD system. Ethiopia, please. Yes. Congratulations, Eswatini, and all of you when we were here before. We'll have Gabon, Commissioner Sophie, please, and then we have Lesotho, Advocate Gitamate, and then Liberia, the Vice Executive Chairperson, the Anti-Corruption Commission, which is here to be founding members of the forum. I'm so relieved Cote d'Ivoire has decided to sign to become a founding member. Surely my sleepless nights have not been a waste. Making sure that everybody has the ETA, their visa, all those phone calls. I'm happy. And then, so after Ethiopia, we'll have Cote d'Ivoire to come, because we need to do it in the Cote d'Ivoire, please. After Cote d'Ivoire, then we have Gabon, Lesotho, and Liberia. And for Mali, we would have Dr. Guido, the president of Oakley, to also sign in to become the founding member of the forum. Mozambique, get ready. We are here witnessing this day. We're hoping. My kids in 2063 will say there was a Nairobi declaration and people did a good job. That time he'll be working for the African Union. So he'll go in the register and say, oh, this is what was happening. So we are all of us. I know most of us will be there in 2063. I think I'll be there. I'll be 85 years old, so I'll be there in 2063. So I hope some of us, but some of us might not be there. Thank you so much, Cote d'Ivoire. Gabon, please. Félicitations. Lesotho, Liberia, Malawi will sign later, and Mali. Yes, and then Mozambique. And then we'll have Mauritius, and then we'll have Madagascar. Also in the Madagascar, we have 2 institutions that are here. So we are encouraging those who are still hesitating that the charter is not a binding instrument. And there's time in the General Assembly to be able to deal with any issues. I'm not a lawyer, but I wanted to be a lawyer. But I ran away from the module on a criminal court. I couldn't keep up. I wish I did, because I would understand all these legal terms. Thank you, Honorable Commissioner Sophie, for Gabon. Please, Lesotho. But I managed to do some few courses, legal methods, so I know what it means. This is not a legal binding document. It's just for us to be able to understand what we are doing. Not so. So those are my learned friends. Me, I'm learned in demand and supply and anti-corruption. So there was a demand for the forum. That's why we are here. So I used my economics, not so. There was a demand, and we have supplied it because the practitioners need to speak with one voice to call for the return of assets. Congratulations, Lesotho. Can we now have Liberia to also be the founding member of the forum? We'll have Mali, Mozambique, oh, my apologies. Mozambique and Mali. Then Mauritius, we are ready. Mauritius, yes. Okay, so the So as I was saying, I did legal methods and I did constitutionalism as well. So I'm almost a lawyer. I can go to the Constitutional Court. Congratulations, Liberia, Mozambique, and then Mali, and then Mauritius. So in my constitutionalism class, I really loved it, but I was learning the Constitution of Tanzania. It was really interesting. And I hope the forum also needs to have a constitution, no? Or the charter is more almost like the constitution. That's why I now the learned. I did not become a learned friend. So we are witnessing Mozambique now becoming the founding member of the forum. We hope Mozambique is going to invite the AUADC to review its implementation of the African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption. By the way, we have gone to South Africa, Kenya, Burkina Faso, Gabon. Now it's Mali. So we are hoping Mali also is going to invite the AUADC to review its compliance to the convention. Félicitations Mozambique. Now it's Mali's time to become a founding member. After Mali, we'll have Mauritius, Mr. Mahmoud Mungu from the Asset Recovery Unit, from the Financial Plans Commission. Yes. And then after that, in Madagascar, we have 2 institutions, Bianco and the Asset Recovery Agency. Both of them will be signing, as we said, the membership of the forum are the national institutions. So whether there are 20 institutions with an asset recovery mandate, they all have to be members of the forum. And we are hoping when we decide on the membership fees, all these institutions will give money. This forum needs money to run. It needs money. The Secretariat needs money. We are thankful to GIZ. We are thankful to the African Development Bank, who are supporting us to combat corruption, are supporting us, especially the CAPAR. But member states must own this. So we need those money. When you recover the assets, 10%, bring it to the forum. I think at the AGM, it's at 10% of what you recover must have. Félicitations, Mali. Mauritius, please. Okay. Members of the high table, I think we can release you if you want to sit there. But if you are here, it's fine. But if you want to sit on the table, I see Isaac and Miss Juliet. The opening is done, so we can be able to sit here. Yes, please, Madagascar. Okay, that's Madagascar. And then Morocco, are you signing? Morocco. And then we have Nigeria. Nigeria, we have two institutions, the ICPC, represented by the interim chairperson, and then also the EFCC. The executive chairman will not be here due to other conflicting diaries, and therefore he has sent his officials who will be signing. Thank you. Félicitations, Madagascar. Okay. Yes. Yes, Madagascar Asset Recovery Agency. It should be two. In the alphabetical order, we were supposed to have Kenya, but because Kenya are the host, they are going to wrap up the signing ceremony. So that is why we are not called Kenya. Otherwise, the lawyers here are going to say you did not follow the order and take me to the court. So Nigeria, ICPC, and EFCC. We know Nigeria also has other institutions. They will be able to sign at a later stage. So the institutions that are not here, since these are the founding members, the steering council is going to meet on how to reach out to the other institutions that are not here. That is where we need the money. So we can go and reach out. Félicitations Madagascar Asset Recovery, Nigeria, ICPC, and then, so our interim chairperson has to look for money. He's been putting that for Nigeria as the sponsor of the Common African Asset Recovery. We are banking on you to give us money. Yes, so you can be able to have the forum functional. Just signing the charter today. If we can even wrap up here and go, I'll be happy. Because this is the commitment that we needed. Even when we go to mobilize resources, they say, well, who are your members? So you are here. We are so grateful that you are committing today to really become part of the forum. So we have now Somalia, South Africa, we have two institutions, and South Sudan. He also had challenges. KQ had cancelled a number of flights yesterday. 4 of our delegates could not fly yesterday. So I hope, I'm not so sure if he has arrived, so he will be signing later, I guess. Then you have Seychelles, are you ready to sign? And then Sierra Leone. So Somalia, South Africa, 2, then South Sudan, Seychelles, and Sierra Leone. And then we have Senegal. Congratulations, ICPC, and then we have EFCC. Okay, Somalia is close by. South Sudan, I'm not so sure they are here yet. We have South Africa. So we have South Africa, Somalia, then South Africa. Okay, Somalia, it's your time to sign. And then we have South Africa. We have the National Prosecuting Agency and the Special Investigation Unit. Sessions, are you here, Sessions? Yes. Sierra Leone, I see Commissioner Kafala is here, the Director General, the Commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission of Sierra Leone, and Togo also. Togo, are you signing today?
What about
Senegal, they'll sign later. And then, do we know where the AUABC is based? I think we all know where the AUABC is. South Africa, please. Congratulations, Somalia. The AUABC is hosted in the United Republic of Tanzania. They are hosting as well, and we hope they continue to do so, and to give us even resources to ensure that the forum really takes off. It has taken off, but the taxing part is really hard. We don't want to meet the gods, we don't want to meet the birds, like Captain Sully, who had to go and land in the Hudson River because he hit some geese, some birds. And captain as he is, he managed to steer the plane to a safe landing in the Hudson River. By the way, I wanted to become a pilot. Those of you in Addis Ababa, you know the story. South Africa, please. Unfortunately, during those times, I didn't have a model. I didn't know how to become a pilot. All I saw was the air hostess, the cabin crew. But what I've done now is to take my kids to flying school. So I'll become a pilot by default. So today, we're hoping that you as practitioners, you help us. The agencies will help us as we are taxiing. It's very important. The air traffic controllers are hosted. Once we hit the V1, you know the V1 is a no stopping zone. It's a second. As you're taxiing, we do flaps. V1, lift off. So we have already passed the V1. As we are signing here, there's no going back. Thank you, Seychelles. It's your time. Congratulations, South Africa. So the V1 point, we have already passed it. We are now taxiing to lifting off. For us to attain the cruising altitude. Wow, once we attain it, we have UNODC here, the big money, we have the African Development Bank. They are here to support us. Sierra Leone, please. So we are hoping UNODC, the STAR Initiative, the World Bank. I know most of you are coming from Washington. I hope you were advocating for CAPAR there, because we need the resources for us to attain the cruising altitude where we have relaxed. The air hostess, which I wanted to be, are serving the wines and the beers and the juices. So we are banking on you. The hope for asset recovery is in this room, quoting CEO Abdi from EACC. Félicitations, Sierra Leone, for becoming a founding member of the Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum. Now it's the turn of Tanzania, the host of AUABC, Mr. Crispin Francis Chamina as the Director General of PCCB, signing. As we said, there are other institutions in these countries who also have asset recovery mandates. We'll be distributing a form in the tables for you to update the contacts. Sometimes we send communication, and because there are changes in the Director General, we end up sending them to the wrong people who have left the institutions. So we're encouraging you to write on those forms, the institution email, that would be the institution email, that would be very critical. We'll be convening the General Assembly later in the year, and we want the other institutions that are not here, and other countries that are not here, because we need all the 55 member states to be there. So Tanzania and then Togo. Togo, are you signing? Yes, Togo, please. Then we have Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Togo, s'il vous plaît. Uganda, I already have. Uganda, we have the IGG and also the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions. For Zambia, we have the Director of Public Prosecutions and also the Acting Director General for ACC. Both of them, if they have made a decision to sign today, we're hoping they'll be signing today. And then we have Zimbabwe, the Executive Secretary, the Anti-Corruption Commission. Mr. Mufute, are you signing on behalf of the NPA? So once we're done with this, we are done, and we'll be going for the break. Sorry, group photo, and then the break. So our dancing group, the ushers, please get the dance troupe to be ready. Yes. So we'll be entertained at the time we go for the group photo by our dance troupe. But for now, we have Togo, then Uganda, Zambia, Zimbabwe, then we are done. Then the forum, we are about to start to cruise. But in cruising attitude, things can happen. Sometimes you meet turbulences, especially the cumulonimbus clouds. They are very dangerous to pilots. Do you remember the A380 of Air France that crashed in Brazil, of course, Brazil? The reason was the clouds were highly charged. Do you see the pilot in me? Not the lawyer anymore. This is the confused person. So as we are cruising, we don't want to meet the turbulence. If we are set, our ladder is working. And these days, pilots just put the plane on autopilot. But sometimes they need to take control of the yoke to make sure that they stabilize it. So AUABC and AUC PAPs will be there to make sure that the plane is stable, the ladder is clear, you can see that you are in touch with the air traffic controllers to make sure your flight path is clear. Congratulations, Uganda. Dr. Ashan, your time. So that by the time the pilots can also go to sleep. So AUABC can relax. We don't go to sleep as much, but we go and relax because the autopilot is operational and is fine. We can take the nap and be able, once we know it's time for the descent, we make sure, normally it's 30 minutes before the landing. So the cabin crew will make sure that the cabin is clear, the table is stored away, everything. AABC needs the human resources. And we're hoping with some of you. Congratulations, Uganda, for signing to become the founding member. Zambia, please. The Director of Public Prosecution signing as a founding member. And then we'll have the Anti-Corruption Commission of Zambia, and then Zimbabwe. Okay. Sorry, I have a correction now. Mrs. Monica Chimpata Mansa is the Deputy Director General of the Zambia Anti-Corruption Commission. So she will be signing as a founding member of the forum. Ms. Monica, your time. And then we have Zimbabwe, the land of the loons. Not so. they share the Victoria Falls between Zambia and Zimbabwe. But I'm told if you want to see the better view of the falls, go to the Zimbabwe side. Okay, I need to do them. If you want to see the better views of the Victoria Falls, go to Zambia. So between two of them, they are one. It's just the big falls in between. So whether you go to Zambia side, whether you go to Zimbabwe side, all what we see is the Mosi Atunya. Thank you so much, Zambia. Finally, we have Zimbabwe. Ms. Charity Matumbi, the Executive Secretary of Zambia Anti-Corruption Commission, and then Mr. Kevin Mufuti, the Principal Public Prosecutor, signing on behalf of the National Prosecuting Authority of Zimbabwe. I am so happy. I am so glad. The sleepless nights, those phone calls that I was receiving since Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for those of us who were late to apply for our ETA, have not gone in vain, because you are here and you have signed. My boss, the chairperson of the AARP, is here to witness, as the secretariat of the forum is here to witness all of us signing. So now, as I can safely say, as the pilot, that we are in the cruising attitude, everything is fine, we are just waiting for the landing time to reach. So you can take your cup. But where is the bottle of champagne? Secretariat, we should have popped a bottle of champagne here. But nevertheless, I think there's something cooking at EFCC. I'm hoping the champagne will have to be popped. By no means. CEO, we need the champagne so we can pop to celebrate. And all of us now are founding members of the Asset Recovery Practitioners Forum, as Zimbabwe now concludes. Oh, no, we have not concluded. We have the hosts who are co-hosting this meeting, who are who have helped us to carry this vision, this meeting, and that is the Kenya authorities, under the leadership of the Ethics and Corruption Commission, who has brought us here. So this is the time for the host institutions to be able to sign to the charter. So we have the list for Kenya, we have the EACC, we have the Asset Recovery Agency, please come. We have the Kenya Wildlife Society, we have the Kenya Revenue Authority, we have the DCI, yes. Who else have I forgotten? Farida, please help me. We have ESCC, we have DCI, we have KWS, we have KRA, we have ARA. The prosecutors, please, we need your signatures to be able to conclude now. Thank you, Dr. CEO. Yes, please. Who else is missing? The courts will also sign and appoint later. They have the anti-corruption crimes. They're the ones who adjudicate the cases, so they need to sign. After this, we'll be going for a group photo. The dancing troupe, are they ready? David, the dancing troupe, are they ready? So they can do the performance outside there. So we'll be going to a group photo. It will just be done outside there. The ushers are going to take us there. We'll have the high level at the table, high level, dignity on high table sign. Anybody else from Kenya? We are good. Thank you so much. So can I call Dr. Musa to come and receive? come and receive the. So we have the French, Portuguese, English chapter. Okay, as I said, I have to put a disclaimer. I'm not protocol related. I'm wondering, should the AARP hand over to the chair or the chair hand over to the AARP? The interim chairperson hands over the signatures to the AU, or the AU hands over signatures to the interim chair of the forum. Okay, thank you. Thank you. See, I need to go back to law school. Okay, so the honor of the interim chairperson will hand over to the AABC chairperson. Thank you so much. Here is now the forum. And I don't applause, please. Here is where we have popped the champagne. Merci beaucoup, Madam President. Yes, so thank you. So now we are going to go for the photo. The photo will just be outside there. After the photo, we'll proceed to have our coffee break. It will just be for 10 minutes. And then we have to come back to nominate the representatives for the other regions. As you can see on the tables, we had put the participants according to the region, so that when we come, the regions need to confirm who they are going to nominate to the steering council. So for East Africa, we need one country. We have Uganda. For the North, we don't have any. For the Central, we have Cameroon. For Southern Africa, it's okay. For West Africa, we have both Nigeria and Burkina Faso. So as we go to the break, and after the break, we will proceed. Merci beaucoup. Asante sana. Shukran. Thank you. Let's go to the ashes. Yes, the photo will just be 5 minutes. The ashes will lead us. It's just outside there, and then we go for them. So we'll come back to the time. Okay, so we come back here at 12. Please, we come back here at 12. Thank you.